I felt like, I don't know, I wasn't on that set that moment. And I sometimes, when I see moments like this, I always wish I was, just to see the process of how the filmmaker instructed the actor. But I felt like, what is the instruction you must have given Jennifer Garner to kind of get that expression? Because she was magical in that close-up, where she looked back and she was like, amazing. I know.
Well, I have so many little answers to give you. The scene in the bar, I knew, first of all, I need to say, that was a very good scene, but then Ryan rewrote the scene himself. And he rewrote the scene himself as a love letter to his mother, who was the one constant in his childhood with a very unpredictable and imperfect father. So it started with a Ryan Reynolds rewrite of the scene. When we showed up, we started rehearsing, and sometimes you're rehearsing a scene first thing in the morning, and you just feel like, oh, it's happening. It's happening. And in those moments, for one thing, stop rehearsing. Stop rehearsing, start filming. And number two, get out of the way. Get out of the way. And so literally I was like, I'm gonna say a bare minimum. I'm gonna roll the cameras. I'm gonna let the cameras move slowly in on each actor as the intimacy of the scene develops. I wanted to get visually more intimate with the actors. And I truly feel like that was a day where I didn't want the director's hand to be obvious. I wanted it to be trusting. And the only note I gave, we did a few takes of Jennifer Garner's close-up. They were all amazing, but she was so emotional. And I said, the only note I said, I was like, hold it back. Because what I found is when an actor is really crying a lot, it's beautiful, but it's not as poignant as someone who's trying not to cry. And that was the one note I gave Jennifer, and that's what you see in the movie.
Oh my God, she was that close-up where, there's always, I feel like with actors, when you give them the big set pieces, which is a lot of dialogue, a lot of drama, a lot of screaming and shouting, I feel those are the easy crutches that actors have. They have dialogue, they have drama, they have a lot of volatility to show, anger, fury, whatever. But it's in silences. It's in silences where a real actor shines. And I feel like, what was Jennifer Garner's moment in the Adam Project? And it was that close-up, according to me. My takeaway
was that close-up. It was, I mean, you know what I love? And they would never say this about themselves, but I love that scene, particularly because Jennifer Garner and Ryan Reynolds have been very famous superstars for a long time. And sometimes when someone is so famous for so long, you forget the actor because you are so conscious of the celebrity. And that was a day where I said to Jennifer and Ryan, today, you two are actors.
No, I mean, bona fide actors and bona fide talent. And I love that there were two zones in the film. I realized that because you have also so much to say and so much to kind of express. It's when the young Adam gets the realization that, oh, I'm meeting my older self, and where he kind of puts all the dots together. But I love that you call it out. Like, I love that you make Ryan Reynolds say that, oh, you figure that out quite fast. Because I love that you called out what could have been a loophole. Like, I love that, and you did that at 2 or 3 instances in the film. Where even right immediately when you show Mark Ruffalo stare at him, and he just looks at him and he just says his name, and it's like, it's amazing because you're buying into it. You're completely buying into it because you're so swept by the emotion that's what I said, that you directed this film with a front foot. Like, there is no apology. It's a lot of abandon, and a lot of it is the syntax of what Indian cinema actually has always represented. And I think that syntax is what is going to make your film hugely mainstream and cut across boundaries and countries, because emotions are universal. I agree. We have so much, we see so much of spectacle and the VFX and scale, but eventually I cried in your film, and I think that was I had such a good cry, like in that scene, the last scene. I don't want to tell anyone about it because that was my second favorite moment of the film, is between Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo. And I was like, I just suddenly realized I had these tears just dropping from my face. And I was at home very late at night, and it was a long working day, and I wanted to see the film. I was all excited and sad, and I wasn't planning to cry. And I was like, this is not something that I thought would happen to me in this film, because I wasn't expecting it at all. And I had a good cry right after the film, because you end the film emotionally as well. It's just like you're just carrying that emotion right at the end. And it's about all of us want to go back, like, as I told you, like, when I've lost a parent, and you want to go back in time and change things. And you think about stuff like that in your head. So is time travel a phenomena that has excited you, like way back from cinema goes, like Back to the Future itself? Or is it just a concept that's fascinated you?
Well, I mean, I have always found time travel a fascinating concept. I think that's fundamentally human, because it's the one constant of our existence as human beings that we are utterly powerless about.
Yes.
So I think it's inherently interesting, but I have never been a sci-fi wonk for purely genre purposes. I like genre that is emotional genre. So, people think of Stranger Things as genre, but it's deeply warm-hearted and emotional. Adam Project, I wanted to make a very emotional piece of science fiction. I wanted to make a sci-fi movie that does not look, feel, or sound or compute like sci-fi. I wanted to make a sci-fi premise as an adventure drama. And so all the choices I made with the wardrobe, with the camera, with the aesthetics, with the pacing, with the music, every decision was made with the priority of connecting in an emotional way, a humanist way, even though the genre is conceptual. That was the whole goal. And look, Adam Project is my 13th movie, which is kind of astounding to me. But you talk about front-footed, early on, I remember when I made the Night at the Museum movies, and I was like, no, I want to be like a drama director. And I remember Chris Columbus, who was my producer on that, said to me, why are you running from the thing that is the most natural to you? You dismiss it because it comes easy to you, but it's not common, it's rare. And I remember that. I was in my mid-30s at that point. And then several years later, Spielberg on Real Steel said to me, you direct like you're sitting in the audience. And I always remembered those words, because since then, and that was now 10 years ago, I've thought, okay, you know what? This thing that comes naturally to me, emotional storytelling, I'm gonna play off my front foot, and I'm not gonna kind of apologize for it or try to put on different clothing because, oh, well, that's what the cool kids are doing. I can only tell my stories in the way that I want to tell them and the way I'd want to experience them as an audience member. And that's kind of how I do my job now. And it took me a few movies to get here, but I'm very much enjoying this stage of my creative life as a result.
Would you think it's also because you've reached a stage where you feel liberated, of so many things? There's an expectation, there's a pressure, there's box office deliverance, there's a certain, critical acclaim you seek. I mean, I know because I'm at that stage. I'm going to be 50 in a few months, and I've been working for nearly 27, 28 years. And now I feel like, I can't say, I don't want to sound presumptuous and say I don't care anymore, but there is a sense of freedom because you feel like you've done so much. You'll take one hit, it's still not going to drop you. You'll still be back. Yeah, totally. So do you feel that sense of liberation as a filmmaker?
Yes. I mean, the short answer is yes. Early on, I had a lot of commercial success, and, that led to nice lifestyle, outcomes and all that. And then, with Arrival and with Stranger Things and with Free Guy, there's kind of been a new chapter of critical and awards attention that feels, very nice. And so now in my early 50s, I do feel like, oh, all those things that I was so chasing, they happened. Yeah. So and now what? Now what? The answer I'm finding is now I'm only going to direct things I can't resist. Right. And so it's going to result in an eclectic output because Free Guy is very different from Adam Project.